Welcome to Game Founder Reviews. In this video, we're going to take a look at Intrigue. Intrigue is a strictly political game in which players are trying to amass the most money by deceiving the other players. Let's jump right in with a description of the rules, see a few example turns being played, and I'll finish with some closing remarks.
This is Intrigue, set up for a 3-player game. To set it up, you assemble each player's palace in this order and give them all of their 8 tokens. Also, they get 32,000 money, which is just 2 of each of these bills here. And in the center of the board goes the central island. The game is played over 5 rounds, each composed of 3 phases, which are collect salaries, consider applications, and send 2 scholars. The active player completes all of those and then play passes left. At the end of the game, the player with the most money is the winner. So let's go over collect salaries. So at the beginning of your turn, you collect salaries. And you do that based on where your people are. In the first turn of the game, all your people are still in your area, so you don't get anything. But over the course of the game, they're going to be other places. So if I was here and here, for instance, I would get 6,000 for this and 1,000 for that. So this different places are worth different amounts of money. And you'll collect that money at the beginning of your turn. Next is to consider applications, and during your turn and other players' turns, you're going to be placing your guys in other people's palaces. So when there are different people placed at your palace, they will be considered to work here. First, players negotiate with anybody that's providing an uncontested scholar. So since this scholar is the only one of this type, and I don't already have that type in my palace here, this guy is uncontested. If there was more, we would start clockwise, but we go around and we negotiate. And we can make any type of deal, and it's totally non-binding. We can say, I'll do your laundry for a week, that's fine. But this player needs to bribe me at least 1,000 money. He can say, you know what, I'd really like to be in that 10,000 spot, I'm going to bribe you 5,000 money. And then after I take all the bribes, I put these guys in my palace. I can't reject them because I don't already have this type in here. But even though I took this bribe of 5,000, whatever they bribe you, you do get. I don't have to put him anywhere. I can just throw him in the 1,000, though I may regret it later. And bribing is totally mandatory. They must bribe you at least 1,000. If they don't have any money left, which they can keep secret, by the way, the bank will pay a bribe of 1,000 for them. But the bank will only pay 1,000, nothing more. Next, you consider external conflicts, which are when 2 applicants of the same type. You can only have 1 type of each different scholar in your palace, so these guys form an external conflict. Same way, we start to the left, I negotiate with him, take his bribe, and then I'll negotiate with green and take his bribe. So let's say this guy decides to bribe me 10,000. He's very, very considerate, but green only wants to bribe me 1,000. Maybe I feel bad for putting green in the 1,000 before, but point being, I get whatever bribes they give me, and I can only take one of these guys, and I can put them wherever they want. The other gets banished to the center, so I'll take the yellow guy, but I'm only giving him the 6,000, even though he gave me $10,000, which was very nice. There's one more type of conflict, and that's an internal conflict, and that happens when an applicant is the same job as somebody who's already in here. So, for instance, if this guy also applied, we would now resolve this as an internal conflict. Since both of these are the same profession, I can only have one of each type. So I'd talk to this guy, same way, clockwise order, he bribes me. I either accept him and banish this guy to the center, or banish him. He offers me 1,000, and I decide to banish him, for instance, and then this guy gets to stay here. So after you go through all the applicants, the last part of your turn is to send out 2 scholars of your own. It can be any 2, same 2, different 2. You just put them in front of different people's palaces so that during their turn they're going to decide if you get to work there or not. It goes like this for 5 rounds, but there's only 8 scholars, so during your 5th round you're not going to have any scholars to put out to other people's palaces. But after the 5th round, each player receives 1 final salary payment based on where they are, so there's sort of a first phase in the 6th round, but nothing else. And the winner is the player with the most money. Let's get going with this example playthrough. So the red player is going to go first, and the first part of his turn is collect salaries. He has all his guys here, so he gets nothing. Then he considers applications. Obviously no one's applied yet, so we skip right to the 3rd part of his turn, which is put 2 applicants out there. He's going to put one of his priest guys over here and one of his feather guys over here. So his turn is over because that's his 3rd phase. So now yellow's turn. Yellow has nobody out there, so collects no money, but does have some applications to consider. So it goes clockwise, it's only red, so they negotiate. Red says, we've been best friends since the 2nd grade, I shouldn't have to give you anything. I'm just going to offer you a $1,000 bribe, and I trust that you're going to take care of me. So yellow says, no, I want a lot more, and I want you to do my laundry. But red says, no, that's all you're going to get. So point being, yellow takes the bribe, and since there's no competition, he can throw red in there. He decides he is going to throw red in the 1,000, although now, for the rest of the game, only these priest-looking guys or medic-looking guys, I'm not sure, can go in the 1,000 space. So for the last part of his turn, he puts 2 guys out there. He's really unhappy with red, so he's actually going to cause a conflict over here, and then he's going to send one of these sciencey looking ones to red's area. Green's turn, again, nobody's out there yet, so he doesn't collect any salary, but he has a conflict to consider. So it starts with red. Him and red negotiate first because red is clockwise to him, and then yellow will be next. And all negotiations are totally public in front of everybody. You can't go in the corner and whisper. Red's a little concerned, but because he doesn't know green that well. He's actually yellow's friend. But red says, you remember that time you got yellow a bicycle for his birthday, and all he gave you was an old piece of gum? So I'm going to give you 6,000, but I would really like to be in that 3,000 spot. I'm not very greedy. I want to be in that 3,000 spot. Next time you come to my area, I'll be real nice to you. So he takes that 6,000. Then yellow says, oh, come on, don't listen to that guy. So I'm just going to give you 2,000, but that should be plenty for me to go in that 3,000. Green decides, you know what, he's a little unhappy with yellow, so he banishes yellow to the central island, but only gives red the 1,000, even though he wanted the 3. So now for his turn, he's got to send out a couple guys. He's going to send out a priesty guy over here and a snake thing over there. So now it's red's turn. Red actually does collect salary. He collects $1,000, $2,000. And then his turn proceeds as the others have gone. We'll be back at the end for the end situation. Welcome back. It's the final round and it's red's turn. So first thing he does is collect salaries. 10, 11, 17, 18,000 he gets. Then he has to consider his applicants, but he actually has a whole bunch of internal conflicts here. So he resolves them from the cheapest area to the most expensive. So first we're going to talk to this yellow guy over here and say, yellow, you want this 3,000 space. I'll give it to you for 2,000. Yellow says, I don't trust you. Red says, you should trust me. I'll definitely give it to you for 2,000. So yellow says, okay, here's 2,000 as a bribe. And he does. He banishes this guy and puts him here. So now we move to the 6,000. He says, green, you see how honest I am with yellow. If you give me 5,000, I'll give you that space. And green says, I will give you 3,000, not 5. And red says, okay, too bad then. You're going to the middle. And he said, yellow, you see, I'm a man of my word. If you give me 13,000, I'll give you this space. And yellow says, you better not be messing with me, or I'm going to be very grumpy. Here's your 13,000. Red takes it, he smiles, and he sends yellow to the center. So that is the end of his turn, because in the last round we have nobody left to place. So it's yellow's turn, and he gets some money. He gets 7, 10, 20, 23. So now he considers the applicant from green, and he's pretty angry at red. So green gives him the bare minimum of 1,000 because this is the cheap space, and he says, red, get out of here. I never want to see you again. And again, he doesn't have any people left, so it's green's turn. Green collects his money, but he has nobody applied for him and nobody to place, so the game will be over. His money is 10, 13, 19, 20. Now that the 5 rounds are over, each player collects their salary one last time, and then we tally up the money. So red gets 10, 17,000. Yellow gets 10, 23. And green gets 10, 13, 20. So we tally up the money, and whoever has the most wins.
Intrigue can make for a very interesting experience because the game is strictly political and there's no random elements whatsoever. Some people can take what happens during this game a little too personally. You should probably avoid playing this if you're one of those people, or avoid playing with one of those people because tensions can run high. I do enjoy treachery and deceit and those things in games, but I do wish there was a little more game here. I mean, it really is just politics. But it is very easy to teach, very easy to learn to play, and it plays very fast. So I think that has some positives here, because if people get upset, you know, it doesn't last too long. It's not a long, drawn-out experience where they get angrier and angrier. It does end, and it stays about the right amount of time for what it is. So if that looks fun to you, check it out. That's Intrigue. Thanks for watching.